Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Mulner here. How's everybody getting along on this boiling hot day across multi-continents from Europe, North America, Asia? What is going on with the tropics here? We're going to see any main developments here in the main development region of the Atlantic? And are we going to see continued massive quantity of storms in the Eastern Pacific? Is there going to be big changes? Are things going to really ramp up here for August? We'll get into all of that. And just how much heat wave are we going to continue to see here across North America? And look at that over there in Europe, just boiling. Most of the continents are continuing to boil here. Is that going to have a big impact on the tropics? And as far as severe weather, what are we going to be looking at here? Are we going to see this massive ring of fire that we've been continuing to see? Look at that. Just a tremendous amount of mesoscale convective systems pinwheeling their way. You can see showers and thunderstorms the next several days. We'll get into all the details in this edition of Weather Eastern. All right, so take a look here off the coast of the Cape Verde Islands here, Africa. Big old tropical wave out here. We'll watch it as well as another one, but the atmosphere is still kind of hostile up here in this region and further to the west here, so have my doubts on a few of these. All right, as we get into the Eastern Pacific over here, take a look at this. We have a 2-day and a 5-day window of a 30% chance. Look at that. That could be our next named storm over there in the Eastern Pacific. Here across the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, look at the Atlantic for the most part. It's pretty clear. This little feature, though, right over Hispaniola, this is pretty interesting. This dropped a lot of rain over here towards Puerto Rico, and it's exploding some thunderstorms. We'll see if any of these persist. If they do, we might be looking at something to watch, but at this time, it doesn't look like anything developing. And here we go. We have what's left of us still out here. It's basically a post-tropical cyclone. It is not much but shipping problems, and even then it's just a pesky low at this point. Look at the monsoon up here north of Puerto Vallarta, really bringing on some showers and thunderstorms. That is moving towards the ocean. We'll have to see if that persists. But look at down here. This is our main development region. We might be looking at something in the next 5 to 7 days south of Acapulco here off the coast. We'll watch it here. All right, so let's start off with the tropics here. Looking pretty interesting here across the Eastern Pacific. You know, let's go in time here. So, you know, it's been really quiet here in the Atlantic. Not going to lie. But, you know, as we continue to head towards August, I think that's when things really start to blossom here. Now, you see here in the Eastern Pacific, we have this area, a 10% chance within day 2, 30% chance day 5. I think beyond day 5, day 7, day 9 next week, you know, mid to later part of next week, I think this area really starts to take off pretty effectively. Now, this is Monday, 5 p.m., so you start to see, look at all this waviness here, and we have some interesting areas here off the Cape Verde Islands, so we'll continue to watch those. We head out towards Hawaii here and the Western Pacific, and you got some areas out here just south of Japan, too. We'll have to continue to watch. That could be our next named storm. So, you know, let's continue to head this out through time here, and we'll kind of paint a story here and see exactly what's going on. See what the overall model data is showing as far as trends. And, you know, we get a few little flare-ups here off the Cape Verdes. This is Thursday, July 28th. So at this point, we don't have too much to talk about here in the Atlantic Basin. It's kind of quiet. May have some stalled out fronts produce something here, but, you know, the Eastern Pacific, this is where things get cranking. Let's see if that continues from the previous segment that I showed you a couple days ago. See if we get any of these flaring up. Now, you start to see, this is by Saturday, July 30th. Take a look at this. So let's stop it right on July 30th here. We'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see a couple features here. So, you see this first feature. Well, actually, I should say this is the second feature over here because it's behind, you know, this main development area in the Eastern Pacific. So we have another feature over Central America. We'll have to watch emerging. But look what starts to really start to develop here south of Acapulco. So let's put this into motion. So, yeah, there could be a named storm or two coming out of this. This is Tuesday, August 2nd. So look at this. So you take a look at this. We're still looking pretty quiet here across the Atlantic. Intertropical convergence zone looks eerily quiet over here. So we'll watch this. You know, most of the dust by this point is going to be up in this region. So we'll have to watch it here. Things seem very, very eerily stable here across the Atlantic. But look at this here across the Eastern Pacific. This looks like a full-fledged hurricane by this point. Just south of Acapulco here. There's Puerto Vallarta up there. All these coastal towns should be keeping an eye on this system as we go throughout time here. So look at this, how it just kind of hugs the coast initially. That looks like a pretty bona fide system here. Look at this. So let's zoom in. There's Puerto Vallarta up here. So look at this. There is the eye of the storm. Now, keep in mind, this is pretty far out. This is Wednesday, August 3rd. Here's Acapulco over here, on the far east of the storm by this point. And we've got all these resort towns going to be having to deal with this potential here. So let's continue to put this in time here. This is pretty interesting. And how close does it get up along the coastline here? Well, it kind of feeds out very similar. We're seeing like a broken record of these storms coming up. They try to come up like this and then they head out, which is actually good news because it keeps most of the heavier bands away from these resort towns in Mexico. So look at this. This system continues to head, and you know what? You've been getting pretty lucky here in Cabo San Lucas as well. Let's head out across the rest of the Pacific. We see, what do we got going on here? Lots of, cloudiness. There's Hawaii. And here we go. We get into the Western Pacific here, and we get over towards, look at this, Japan. Definitely want to keep an eye on this too. This is showing a typhoon bringing in feeder bands on the east side to Tokyo, but here's the eye over here. Keep in mind, this is first week of August, so a lot can change, but the trend is there for typhoon season here towards Japan. So we get, quite a bit of storminess ramping up here across the Eastern Pacific. The Atlantic just seems, look at it, just seems so like crickets here. But as I said, I think things are really going to change that second week of August. So let's see. We're heading towards Friday, August 5th here. You can see that system out over the Eastern Pacific here. There we go. Look at that. That's continuing to head towards the northwest there. And let's see. Do we have anything? Let's go to the end of the model loop here. See if we have anything developing. Well, not really. And this, keep in mind, this only takes us out to Saturday, August 6th. So here we go. Doing the Euro here across the Atlantic and parts of the Eastern Pacific. I just wanted to briefly show you how this high pressure starts to build towards the west. This is Sunday, July 24th. See how it really starts to exert its influence, and see how the intertropical convergence zone here kind of bumps a little bit towards the north here. That's going to get some of those tropical waves on a more northerly trajectory, which should allow some of them. This is Wednesday, July 27th here. Take a look at this. So this high pressure definitely building much further west here. So allowing these storms, there's another storm there in the Eastern Pacific. As you get the idea, this is setting us up, for later August here. So we don't have the high pressure so, far to the northeast here, although these are kind of retreating a little bit. Intertropical convergence zone still a little bit further to the south here for Friday, July 31st here. But look at this. The Euro's picking up on a potential tropical wave. Could this become our next named storm here in the Atlantic? Well, it's a little far out, Sunday, July 31st, but the Euro's kind of hinting at something here. All right, so what's the sea surface temperatures doing? Well, the Gulf continues to remain bathwater here. And look at along the East Coast, you're definitely dealing with above average. But, out here in the Caribbean, it's warming up a bit. The main development region of the Atlantic, though, is cooled a bit. There's been a lot of dust out here in this section, a lot of keeping the atmosphere stable, kind of filtering the sunshine. Just, the ocean is a bit upwelled and cooler in this region, but I expect that to fill in as we head towards the middle to latter part of August. All right, so I wanted to show you the pattern we're in here, why things are going to be so stormy here briefly from the Midwest to the Northeast. You can see this 500 millibar low pressure that's anchored across eastern Canada. See, it's going to keep the jet stream on a flow such as this across the upper Midwest and parts of the Northeast. Saturday, see some of these jet maxes here maxing out across parts of the northern plains and the northern Great Lakes. And look at that. You get a bigger surge of it towards Sunday night and Monday. Look at this. I think this is where things could get pretty stormy into parts of the Northeast. All right, so let's take a look at your future radar. Here across northern Ohio, see these mesoscale convective systems? This is what we're going to be dealing with the next several days. It's the typical ring of fire Look at this. By early Friday morning, we get rid of all the severe weather in the Northeast, but we're left with a few of these mesoscale. I wouldn't really call this one a mesoscale convective system, but let's put this into motion as we head through the rest of the day, or the early morning hours of Friday. That moves through Cleveland as a weak area of showers and thunderstorms, and then completely kind of just fizzles out here by noon. So you're left with a few showers and thunder showers here in western New York and southern Ontario. Now, as we go throughout the day, look at that. We start to see some pop going on here in parts of upstate New York. So you see here we get some instability going on, and we have a few showers and thunderstorms. This is your 20 to 30% chance. Now, some of them could be a little potent here, as we had, small hail, gusty winds upwards of 50 miles per hour, some isolated severe weather is possible, marginal threat at that point. But let's just back that up just a little bit there. Look at that. Some of these cells get a little frisky here. This is by 3 p.m., 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon. So we're seeing, some of these storms getting pretty frisky here across upstate New York, northeast Pennsylvania, the Binghamton, Elmira area. Definitely want to watch out for a few of these stronger cells. This is by 6 p.m. So as you're just out of work, getting home, getting ready to enjoy the weekend, we could have some stronger thunderstorms here. There is that marginal risk of showers and thunderstorms. You see most of the rest of the Northeast eking out a pretty good day here. Definitely very hot. So, it's going to bring on these thunderstorms. You see, this is by 8 p.m. So we're getting down into parts of the Catskills, not quite to the Hudson Valley yet. We have a few developing on each side. Binghamton's still getting, hit with the Binghamton area for that matter, with a few of these, isolated stronger cells. And as we head throughout the nighttime, look how it just kind of diminishes. So you need some rain in New England. It's just not happening there. So as we head throughout the rest of your Saturday morning here, look what's creeping into the picture over here. This is one of those mesoscale convective systems here. Now take a look at this. So we'll have to be dealing with the potential here for strong damaging wind, large hail potential. This is 10 a.m., so it'll be one of those nocturnal things that comes off from the Midwest overnight into the early morning hours. And let's just put the rest of this into motion. That slowly weakens as we head towards 2 p.m. on Saturday. Look, notice for the most part, up to 2 p.m. in the Northeast, we stay pretty clear. So let's switch over to the NAM 3 kilometer here. So you can see here across the Northeast, we get a few of these isolated areas where we're getting some pop here, southern Ontario, parts of the Appalachians here. So yeah, it's not, going to be a widespread outbreak. You can see here in the Southeast, if you want to take a look at your Southeast forecast here, not looking too bad either. It's looking pretty stormy up here in Minnesota. But yeah, as we continue through the rest of your weekend here, because this model will allow us to continue, you can see you do have a few shower and thunderstorm activity popping, but for the most part, this is 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. It's not looking too bad, but come over here. You got your big old mesoscale convective system pretty much in the Midwest here. All right, convective available potential energy, the food and energy for thunderstorms. Does a thunderstorm good, as I always say. Take a look Friday morning. You're going to be waking up to Cape in excess of 1,500 in Erie, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, 830. So yeah, as we head throughout the day on Friday here, let's take a look and see how much energy these storms have to work with. Now keep in mind, this is not going to be a major outbreak. You do have a marginal risk across upstate New York into Pennsylvania here. But as we head throughout the afternoon, we get Cape values of between 500, 600. There's an area of 1,250 across west central New York. Down in through Pittsburgh, 1,500. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, I think there's going to be like a hole here across, north central Pennsylvania. There's just not a lot to work with until you get up here into New York. Binghamton area, 740. Towards Cortland, over 1,000. So some of these areas, these pockets, will, have enough instability. And look at that. By midnight on Friday night, you have enough here to continue some of these storms. Now, I don't think these storms will continue much into the night. But as we head into Saturday, you can see it kind of pretty much clears out for Cape here, at least through 2 p.m. Saturday. Things are pretty stable. You have this area of instability here in eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. I think we'll start to get some more instability as we head throughout Saturday afternoon. All right, so Friday, there are two areas marginal risk of severe thunderstorms across parts of upstate New York into northern and central Pennsylvania here. And we have another area out here in the Midwest from Nebraska over to Wisconsin and north here in North Dakota and parts of western Minnesota. So as we head into Saturday, that area kind of consolidates, and look at this. We get an enhanced risk. This is going to be a bad day. Southeastern Minnesota, western Wisconsin, and northeastern Iowa. All right, so as we can see, take a look at why we're getting all this severe weather. There actually is a pretty big trough here across central and eastern Canada. You wouldn't know that across much of the United States here that's baking. But, you know, as we continue to put this into motion for your Saturday, look how, you know, as we get into the weekend, we're going to see this heat wave from the central states just build towards the northeast. And things are just going to get downright miserable. But look what's waiting in the wings up here in the parts of eastern Canada. This tries to exert its influence. We're going to see a battleground, though. So we're going to start to see some, you know, big ring of fire severe weather events here unfold. And as you can see, as we head towards Tuesday, July 26th here, it's going to be a battle because we get these areas where we get this ridge. You see this trough digging down across the northern plains. You know, things are going to get pretty interesting there. And look at that. That starts to win out by Saturday, July 30th. But look how it just fills back in. So by heading into August, we have this massive ridge developing across the East Coast, which ultimately means if we get any of these tropical systems or hurricanes, they'll be allowed to come towards the Gulf or the East Coast. All right, so taking a look at the latest drought, let's take a look at the Northeast here momentarily. So look what's going on here. Yes, this is hot off the press. This is July 21st, but take a look at this. Still, even despite the recent rains, we're still in a moderate drought across much of 3/4 at least of New England. And look at this, right around the Boston area, you're still in a severe drought. Now, I want to draw your attention here back towards west of the I-81 corridor. Look what's going on here in western New York, north central Pennsylvania, the central southern tier. You're starting to get into a moderate drought. This is concerning. All right, so taking a look at John here from in the Hicksville, New York region. Look at this, 104 degrees, just boiling and baking out on the highway there. Definitely want to stay in that car. Look at that. That's not a cloud in the sky. So the sun is really being able to do its hot thing here. And that, look at that, all that asphalt. Definitely don't want to be out there outside. Definitely have your windows rolled up with that air conditioner going. Nice capture there, John. All right, so starting out with temperatures here, take a look at this. So yeah, we're building this heat for your Friday, and look at this across the Northeast, mostly into the 90s. So you can't find too many areas that what's happened is this major heat wave across the country is kind of dispersed in all different directions here. And we go in time here. You can see Saturday, it's building again here, but you start to see a little bit of cooling going on up in the northern plains here. But look what's starting in the Northeast. You're into the mid-90s. Across much, look at that, 95 in Scranton, 95 in Albany, 95 in Boston. This is crazy weather here, but it actually gets warmer on Sunday here. Take a look at this. You see parts of the Northeast, it really starts to ramp up with temperatures well into the 90s, but look what's starting right behind it here. You know there's going to be a clash here with the severe weather. Take a look at this. This gets really interesting next week. Some relief is on the way across the lakes into the Northeast, down into the 70s and 80s. But we'll look at this. We start to build the heat again in the southern plains, mid-100s once again, and then we get into Tuesday, July 26th here. We start to rebound this a little bit farther to the north. A reinforcing shot of cooler air around the edges here, and if we take towards Wednesday, you can start to see it build here once again into the Northeast. We're heading towards 90 once again. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Valley in northeast Pennsylvania and into Susquehanna region of New York. Friday, look at that. Yeah, we have pretty much a chance of a shower or thunderstorm every day here. That is given the chance, you know, we could have some stronger thunderstorms in those areas that do get it. But if you notice, the chance is pretty low, 1/10 of an inch or less. That's anywhere from a 20, 30, 40% chance in most areas. Your best day is Monday to get the chance of rain, maybe up to a 1/4 inch. Those areas that do get those thunderstorms, though, could see up to a 1/2 inch. So if you're one of those lucky ones that actually does get a thunderstorm that's much needed rain, you will luck out. But most areas will stay dry. Look at that. 94 into Saturday. 96 will be the hottest day of the year, Sunday. It is going to be downright sweltering, and we see a little bit of a cool down towards Tuesday. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. Links in the description down below if you haven't watched my outlooks, hurricane outlooks. Facebook and Media Mark, also Hurricane Northeastern, also Weather Northeastern, also Susquehanna Weather. You can also visit me at MediaMark.com, weathernortheastern.com, and Twitter at Weather Eastern.